Batman is a character that is way too big to fail, except DC still struggles to turn him into a box office demon like he should be. Meanwhile, some of Marvel's biggest flops are considered to be DC's greatest hits. And Batman is one of the characters with one of the greatest rogue galleries, some of the most wild, wacky, and creative concepts, and he also has some of the most deepest, darkest, and expansive lore that everybody knows and loves. Yet, despite all of this is not enough to save DC Studios. My first point is DC plays it way too safe with Batman. They're too scared to actually delve deep into his fantastical life and who he truly is. They're more focused on doing what already works and that what they know works. They know people like a realistic Batman, so fuck it. Let's make the most realistic Batman we can get. And that's all we've been getting, just consistent realistic after realistic interpretation of Batman. Whereas the last wacky and fantastical Batmans we had was in like the 90s. Well, I mean, we also had Zack Snyder's Batman, but he just fundamentally didn't even understand the character on a level that I'll get into later. And it's a shame because Batman has a lot of greatness that's just being held away because it's to be realistic. Because I mean, I don't know what's up with DC, but you know, let's make the character that dresses as a bat and know every martial art in the world super realistic, because that's something that real people do. But honestly, I feel like there's an even bigger problem that's going on. And it's the fact people don't actually know Batman. The general public's idea of who Batman is much smaller than what he actually is as a character. And I mean, like, Batman as a whole did so many like fantastical things that people are, one, don't know about, or one, just not finding out about. And for example, people don't know Batman's a genuine threat and that he has the capability to taking out almost any superhero. No, they always talk about it. There's a reason why people who are Batman fans say, oh, well, Batman wins with prep time. Because in the comics, he genuinely was somebody to be feared if he started researching you. I mean, like, Batman has done things like, and most people don't even know this, but he beat people like the Hulk in a hand-to-hand fight way back in the day. And he's such a good ninja that even Superman can't detect him. Or Superman wouldn't even know where he is most of the time until Batman just randomly appears. And then even things like his no-kill rule. People just assume Batman would never kill anybody, but they don't know Batman can and will kill people. He just really would not do it unless it's the very, 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 very last option. And then they try to downplay this by saying, well, he doesn't kill the Joker. And people don't even know why Batman doesn't kill the Joker. There's a conversation where people be like, oh, well, why would Batman not kill somebody like the Joker for him? Because he's obviously a bad person. When Batman has genuine reasons for why he doesn't just kill anybody, because he doesn't want to be judge, jury, and executioner. Batman just wants to save people. But if he starts deciding who gets to live and who gets to die, he wouldn't be okay with where he draws the line. Because if he stopped at the Joker, because the Joker killed too many people, well, fuck it, why not go for somebody like Victor Zsasz, who's a serial killer who kills a lot of people? Okay, then once you kill him, then why not kill somebody else who kills a lot of people like the Penguin? And he doesn't kill as much people as the other ones, but he still kills people. So should he still die? Or if he does deserve to still die, what about Mr. Freeze? Mr. Freeze kills nowhere near the same amount of people as them, but he's still by far a killer. Despite the fact he's just a man who needs help, should he still die just because people at the top kill a lot more people? Batman doesn't like to decide that, and he most of the time just won't decide something like that. Now, there are times where Batman will kill. If it's to save the end of the fucking like world, or if it's the only option, Batman will kill without hesitation. It was a scene in a comic where Batman genuinely upped the fucking Glock on Darkseid, bro. But the way the public talks about Batman is Batman would be just a normal guy, completely useless, not able to do anything, despite the fact that Batman, again, has multiple ways of beating Superman without kryptonite, has ways of detaining Wonder Woman, and he's multiple times beat the Flash in a fight. Batman is capable of beating everybody in the Justice League single-handedly, consistently. There is a reason why he leads the Justice League, or he is an important member of the Justice League. And just because he's a human doesn't mean he's like limited by the same things we are in the real world. But people don't know this about the character, or what they often hear because it's so popular is that anybody who believes this about Batman is just dick riding Batman, or is a believer of the Bat God complex, which just isn't true. People also don't even know that Batman isn't the loner, or he isn't constantly angry. People think Batman is always suffering, but to an extent, yes, but no. He got over a lot of that stuff because of his family and friends. You know, Batman is a character outside of Batman. Bruce Wayne actually exists. People don't know that. Now, DC is way too afraid of being comic accurate. I don't know why or for what reason, but DC took a loss with like the Green Lantern and they just have never recovered from it. So hopefully soon. DC hates stuff that is like comic accurate, where a lot of the movies don't even like include the Robins because it's not realistic enough. When again, that whole argument is stupid. They don't include most of the like fantastical characters like Poison Ivy because she's too fantastical. And this is an issue kind of beyond Batman 2, where DC in general is just struggling with being comic accurate. Even with the new Supergirl movie, one of the main complaints was the galaxy and the universe don't look as vibrant as it should have been like it was in the comic. Even though James Gunn is trying to be more comic accurate, they still can't even get stuff like that correct. And this stems from the type of place America was like back in the early 2000s. But we're past the point where everybody moved past the sad, tragic, gritty, realistic outlook on life that we had in like the early 2000s, which I mean, we all know that's why Man of Steel looked the way it did. And that's why it was a much more serious take. And it's also why the Christopher Nolan films were like much more serious. That's why Marvel made a lot more grounded and realistic as much as it could be versions of their characters that didn't wear like costumes because it was too goofy. We're not at that point anymore, and Marvel learned that lesson and they're moving past it. Meanwhile, DC is slowly catching up, and they're risking failure faster than they can actually just learn their lesson. Now, my next point, DC doesn't let Batman breathe. And this isn't an issue strictly related to Batman only. DC holds all of their characters extremely tightly, which makes sense. The only issue is that they're not doing anything with their characters and rather just holding them and letting them rot instead of actually using them for anything fun or creative. I mean, they just canceled the Wonder Woman game, and Batman had his own game series that people love. But even then, DC couldn't keep that up because they ruined it by doing this.
You think you're a team now? You're herd animals, dependent on someone else to survive.
The best joke.
And the fact that they ruined such an iconic and lovable franchise and series just for no reason shows the kind of place where DC's at. They won't let other companies or studios help develop their games because, well, no reason actually. They just don't want to like let their characters be licensed out to people. You know, while we're sitting here having games like Marvel Rivals, DC is taking forever to drop the same old Injustice 3, which I'm so ready for a new type of like DC game with more accurate characters that isn't just bad. You know, we can have moments where Batman is like serious, goofy, fun, but he's also a very dark and gritty character. DC only ever keeps him being movie Batman for the most part in the major spotlight. There's moments where Batman's weird, moments where he's an asshole, moments where he's caring, moments where he's just joking. They're too afraid to do literally anything with most of these characters. The most they'll do is throw out a Lego for some of their characters every once in a while. And this is really bugging me because like I'm waiting on that DC Rivals. Like, come on, Gunn, you promised this, bro. You owe this to us. This was promised to us since the Heian era. I want to play DC Rivals. It would be so much better than Marvel Rivals because you have better characters than Marvel. Now, I'm not trying to be biased when I say that. Marvel has great characters. DC has a lot more recognizable characters that they're just holding on to and not doing anything with. But all of this is, Batman is just way too big to be failing as hard as he is. There's no reason for Batman, the best Batman movie, to be like 700 mil, while the most average Spider-Man movie is like a bill, at the very least. It shouldn't be taking us damn near 8 years for like the DCU Batman. And I'm so tired of seeing just this super ultra realistic Batman. Even though I love the Batman, I'm so tired of it. I don't want another one of it. I really badly want to see the comic book Batman that I love on screen, but I fear that he will never be on screen at this rate. And like, Batman doesn't need to be saved. It's just DC needs to stop being afraid of doing anything, and also they need to kind of like listen to their community a tiny bit, because everybody cares about them but they don't care about themselves. They're just like, fuck it. DC has way too much in their hands to be just flopping this hard.